Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'll be looking at which project? Canberra Crescent Residences. Okay, so this project is located in Canberra, or some of them will know as Sembawang. So today I'll be talking about three main things. One is that, if you are familiar with the area, you will know that in the Canberra area, they have a lot of executive condominium. With so many executive condominiums surrounding this project, whether is it still worthwhile to look at it or not. Second, we will look at what is the walk-away price of this project. And third, I will share with you what is my top choice for every layout that you are looking at, be it a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom and 4-bedroom. So some disclaimer here, whatever content that I'll be presenting in my video are solely for your reference. So Canberra Crescent Residences, this project is by King Leong and Low King Huat. So in case you are not very familiar, who is King Leong? So very often you will see King Leong, they are often a joint venture with UOL project, very often. Alright, so chances are you would have heard about UOL but not so much about King Leong, because King Leong, this developer, they mainly focus in the luxury segment. Okay, so they mainly focus in the areas, mainly in the city central area like Orchard, Somerset, all those very prime property. So these are their focus. So we can expect that the quality, that they have will be not bad. Okay, it will be good. Okay, so for this project, total units are 376 units, have 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom. Okay, but 1-bedroom we only have 3 units so majority will be 2, 3, 4. Some introduction about this developer, King Leong. Okay, so these are some of the past track records that they have done for some of the projects. So you can see like some of the projects that they have done before: 32 Guild State, 15 Holland Hill, Mayor House, The Nassim, and 21 Anderson. So you can actually see that all these projects are located where? In a very prime area. Okay, so you can see the quality and focus of this developer is usually in a very prime area. Okay, so we seldom see them coming into the mass market. Okay, so it's a very rare chance that we get to buy something from this developer, but later on I will be sharing with you about my own analysis. Okay, so if you look at the location map, where is this Canberra Crescent Residence? Exactly where is it located? You can actually see that Canberra Crescent Residence is located here, this plot of land. It looks like a L-shaped plot of land. Okay, and it is just 10 minutes walk to Canberra MRT station. And if you are familiar with this place, you will know that in this area, they have a lot of executive condominium, like Brownstone, Visionaire, One Canberra, and Park Canberra and Provence. So it is highly concentrated in an EC surrounding. So later I'll be talking about when you are surrounded by all these executive condominium, can you still enter? Will buyers still willing to pay for that kind of price? So let's move on. So if you look at, if I zoom in to what is the kind of view that you will be getting, okay, you can actually see that the developer very clever. There are total of 4 blocks and mostly north-south facing. And the developer actually tucked the swimming pool and most of the facility in this corner. And what is in front of here? In front of here is actually the low-rise landed cluster. It's a very small plot of land where in front of it you have landed, okay, and a distance away, this is the HDB blocks and interestingly, this side you will find those conservation black and white bungalow. So you can actually expect that the view facing this side of the view, you will get a not bad unblocked view. And behind, you are facing the future education land, which means that in the future the government actually reserve this piece of land for schools. Okay, but at this point of time, we don't really know what schools yet. Next, I move on. If you look at some of the unit mix, you will find that for those who are looking at 1-bedroom, I would say very limited. Only 3 units. The developer only built 3 units. And you can see the majority of the unit mix are the 3-bedroom and 4-bedroom. These 2 3-bedroom and 4-bedroom, it will add up to be about 78% already. Okay, so you can see that the developer main focus is on the 3 and 4-bedroom. Okay, because this area, we believe that most of the buyers are mainly buying for owns. And you will find 24% of 2-bedroom, which I find that it's not too bad. You will not find in a situation that, wow, the developer for this project have a lot of 2-bedroom. Because the problem with having a lot of 2-bedroom in one project is that next time you will have a lot of competitor. And let me ask you who are the buyers buying a 2-bedroom today? Majority of them. So you will see that majority of the 2-bedroom buyers today are mainly buying for investment. Okay, the 3 and 4 bedroom are buying mainly for own stake. Okay, so unit mix is something that I always pay very close attention to. Okay, so I will say that this project, the unit mix, I will say that is fairly good. Okay, because you can see that the focus mainly focus on the 3 and 4 bedroom. Okay, next I move on to the side plan. You can actually see that mostly are north-south facing. So one very common question people always ask me, hey, the substation and bin center, where is it located? You will find that nowadays a lot of newer condos, developers, they are aware that a lot of buyers, they don't like to buy units facing the substation and bin center. So you will find that most of the projects today, they are all tucked at the basement car park. So it's out of sight okay? So there will be no units facing the bin center and substation. So you can see that the main entrance, let me orientate you a bit. The Canberra MRT is located somewhere here, the MRT. And the main road is somewhere here. So the entrance to this condo is through the Canberra Crescent. Okay, opposite here is the school. Opposite here. Okay, and here is the landed area. Okay, so as you can see, you come in here. Okay, and you will have 4 blocks. Okay, and most of the facility like the swimming pool, barbecue pit, they are all tucked at one corner. And one very interesting thing is that you will notice that this development don't have tennis court. So whether is it good or bad, I will say that instead of a tennis court, the developer is giving a mini golf area. So if you ask me, hey Terrence, don't have tennis court, can buy or not? I would say that not a deal breaker. If you go to a lot of condos, some of the condo tennis court also underutilized. Maybe that is the reason why the developer think that having a tennis court in this condo, some of them, they don't even fully utilize it, so we must not don't build it, okay? But this is something to take note. If let's say you are a tennis lover, then bear in mind that when you buy this development, it doesn't come with a tennis court. Next, I move on. Okay, so if you look at the Canberra area, a lot of condos are low-rise development. And low-rise, I mean that it is just about 5-story high only. So what does this mean is that you will find that some condos in Canberra, you will find a mixture of 5-story high, some is about 12-story high, right? So for Canberra Crescent Residences is 12-story high. Okay, so what does this mean to you? Is that we will find there's a price difference between the low floor and high floor, for a 5-story high development and a 12-story high development. So like, let's say for example, if let's say we talk about a 12-story high development, you will find that the gap between the first floor and the top floor, you will find there is some gap, maybe 100 per square foot or 200 per square foot difference. Okay, compared to a low-rise development, maybe the price gap is very small. So let's see if we look at the Canberra, to highlight is that some of the developments that is 5-story high, you will find that like the Water Gardens at Canberra, okay, Commodore, these 2 developments are the newly TOP condo. We'll be taking these 2 condos for comparison in terms of the entry price. What is a safe entry price to enter? And you'll see Nautical, Canberra Crescent, and Canberra Residence. These are the 5-story high building, right? And ECs like Brownstone, Visionaire, okay, these are 12-story high. So if I pull out Water Gardens at Canberra, one of the stack, you will find that the level 1, okay, you will find that back then when the buyers first bought from the developer, this was in 2021, about 4 years ago. Okay, you will find that the developer price level 1 to level 5, the per square foot is 1433 to 1471. So you will notice what? You will notice that actually the price gap is very small. It's only 38 per square foot. So meaning to say that, wow, if you buy first floor to 5th floor, actually there's no need to think one. Okay, because the per square foot is so small. Okay, so if let's say for the first floor to 5th floor, which is 38 per square foot, so 38 per square foot, if I multiply by, let's say if you buy a 3-bedder about 1000 square feet, is only 38,000, which means that the difference between the first floor, the price difference between the first floor to the 5th floor is only 38,000. Not much. If you look at what about a 12-story building, a 12-story building, this one is, I use the launch, another new launch that is in Woodlands. They launched last year by CDL, Norwood Grand. For this condo is 11-story. 11-story, you will notice that for the top floor, first floor is 1924 per square foot. Top floor all the way up, you can go up to 2110 per square foot. The price difference is about 186 per square foot. You can actually see that for 11-story condo, you can see that there's a price difference really, okay, of about 100 to 200 per square foot difference. In this case, it's about 186 lah. So 186, you will find that okay, the first floor to top floor, there's a difference in terms of price of about 186,000. Okay, then this is quite substantial. So why is it important? Is that when you have a gap difference, okay, from the first floor to the top floor, definitely there will be buyers who are willing to pay a higher per square foot to get a higher floor unit, because majority of the buyers looking at this area, they are mainly looking at own stay. So you imagine if, let's say, a first floor buyer buy at about 24, the top floor buyer buy at 21. Next time when it goes up to the resale market, a top floor unit, definitely I would say that, how much they will be looking at. If they buy at 21, maybe they are looking at maybe about 23 or 24 per square foot. Okay, so for a lower floor unit, you will see that you actually have a cushion. Minimally, you also can exit at 21. Although to exit at 21, the profit is about 186 per square foot difference. Okay, although it is not a lot more, but I would say that at least you'll find protection. And I wouldn't explain this in detail because I have another video which I have actually done to look at all these things in terms of price gap in greater detail. Okay, so if you want to know, you look at the other video. So now we understand 5-level condo compared to 11-floor condo, what is the difference in terms of the price gap, and you can use it to your advantage. The next thing is that I will be looking at is the two most just TOP condo in the area, which is Water Gardens at Canberra and Commodore. So for these two condo, they belongs to the older layout, which I think you might have heard about it, which is called the Non-Harmonisation layout. Canberra Crescent Residence is the new type of layout, which is Harmonisation layout. So what is the difference, which I will explain in a while. Okay, so if I use the two just TOP condo in the area for comparison to Canberra Crescent, today I will be looking at what is a safe entry price for Canberra Crescent. And you will know that Canberra Crescent Residence, it belongs to the newer type of layout, which is the Harmonisation layout. And what is that? A Harmonisation layout, which means that developer nowadays, if they build, let's say, a 2-bedder, okay, they cannot include the aircon latch as a total space in their price. Example, if let's say today you look at the total size of this 2-bedder, example maybe 667 square feet. These 667 square feet are all walkable space, are all the space that you can use, and it doesn't include the aircon latch. And also the developer cannot include the airspace. So what is airspace? Means to say that, for example, last time you will definitely have units that is at a penthouse unit. So penthouse, they will have a high ceiling, right? So high ceiling can be 4-5 meter high, and developer will count this high ceiling, this is what we call airspace, into the total space. So in the new type of layout Harmonisation, the developer also cannot count airspace into their price. But for Water Gardens at Canberra and Commodore, this belongs to the old layout where you can still see the total space include the aircon latch and also the airspace. Okay, so the big question is that Harmonisation versus Non-Harmonisation layout. What is the difference? And how can I actually benefit from it? Okay, if I use two projects, a recent project in another area to illustrate what do I mean by a Non-Harmonisation layout versus a Harmonisation layout. So if I look at Lentor Hill Residence, which is a Non-Harmonisation layout, example, a 3-bedder, 958 square feet. So this 958 square feet, it includes the aircon latch. So the aircon latch is about 6 square meter. So 6 square meter is probably about maybe 70 square feet. Compared to another project which is just next door, Lentor Central Residence. This is a new type of layout. 915 square feet. The developer did not include a ledge. So you can see that the size for the new type of layout is actually smaller. But 915 square feet are all walking space. So I would say that, we want to do an apple-to-apple comparison. We want to do an apple-to-apple comparison in terms of the price point to see what is a safe entry price to go in, right? Imagine today, if let's say Lentor Hill Residence, if they were to sell in a market today as a new type of layout, what will be the price point be? So first, I need to convert this old type of layout into a new type of layout. So a 958 square feet is about 89 square meter. So I need to take away the aircon ledge, which is about 6 square meter. And I will get about 83 square meter, which is about 893 square feet. So this aircon ledge is about 7% of the total size. How do I get 7%? So the aircon ledge is 6 square meter. I divide by 89 square meter. So I will get about roughly 7%. We will be using this 7% in all our calculation later on, okay, to convert from an old layout to a new layout. So if you look at, this is some of the data that I have pulled out for Lentor's Hill Residence, a 3-bedder, okay, developer sold at about 1920 at about 1.839 million. If Lentor Hill Residence is converted to a new type of layout which is harmonized, it will be easily 2059 per square foot already, and the price will be 1.967. So this is important. Why? Because later I'll be converting like Water Gardens and Commodore, the price point. I'll be converting to a new type of layout, and then from there we will be looking at the entry price. What is the entry price and what is the walkaway price for Canberra Crescent Residence? If I pull out the Water Gardens at Canberra and Commodore, what is the recent latest market price? So for Water Gardens, I take an example of a 2-bedroom 797 square feet. Recent transaction 1833 per square foot at 1.46. If today they are harmonized and I add 7% to the price, it will be 1961 per square foot at 1.56 million. Okay, Commodore would be 1959 per square foot at 1.455 million. So for Canberra Crescent Residence, I think the developer maybe they'll be launching from 18K all the way to 23. So at this point of time, we don't have the indicative price from the developer yet. But if let's say the developer, if they launch at example 1,800 per square foot, which means that if the developer launch at 1,800 per square foot, you are actually buying 8.9% below the market price. Okay, so this is what it means. Okay, then if let's say at 1,009 will be 3.2% below the market price. But what if the developer launch at about 2,000 per square foot, which means that you're buying 1.9% above the market price of Water Gardens and Commodore. So I will say that what is a safe entry price if I look at this? I will say that anywhere that is about 2,000 to this kind of range means that you are buying about 12% above the market price. I will say that this per square foot, I will say that it is considered pretty high already and it's not very safe. But of course, you may be aware that a 4-bedroom usually the per square foot is lower and a 2-bedroom the per square foot is usually higher because due to the size. Okay, so this one we are talking about the average per square foot. So later we will be looking in greater details on the breakdown of 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom and 4-bedroom. Okay, the next one we will be looking at the layout comparison, and the first one that we'll be looking at is the 1-bedroom. So for 1-bedroom, very straightforward. They only have one type of layout. 1-bedroom is 409 square feet, only one type and only 3 units. So if you were to ask me, the 1-bedroom, I would say is quite standard. From the main door, you have an open concept kitchen, you have a living, dining, you have a master bedroom, and you will notice that the 1-bedroom don't have balcony. And in terms of the price point, right, I don't think for 1-bedroom developer will launch a 1.8. I would say maybe a more reasonable one, maybe about 2.2 or 2.3, right? So let's say about 2,200 per square foot, you'll be looking at 900k. So I would say that for this kind of quantum in today's market, it is actually, you cannot find really for 1-bedroom 900k kind of quantum, right? And there's a chance that, if the developer launch it cheaper, it might be about 850,000. If let's say today you're looking at a 1-bedroom, I would say chances are your ballot number must be extremely lucky because there are only 3 units. The next one we'll be looking at a 2-bedroom. 2-bedroom. 2-bedroom, they have a few types. For a 2-bedroom, they have 2-bedroom compact and they have 2-bedroom premium, right? So they have 2-bed 1-bath and 2-bed 2-bath. So let's take a look at 2-bed 1-bath first. So I take Water Gardens at Canberra as a comparison for the old type of layout. You can actually see that for Water Gardens at Canberra, the 2-bed 1-bath is 646 square feet versus Canberra Crescent Residences is about 570 square feet. So again, if I assume that this aircon latch is about maybe 4 square meter, okay, if you do the math, it will be estimated about, maybe if you convert, it will be about 580 square feet. This is my estimation, okay? So it will be somewhere very close to what is the size of Canberra Crescent Residence, okay? So you will find that the layout wise, for Water Gardens at Canberra and Canberra Crescent, quite similar except for a few noticeable differences. Like for Water Gardens, it has an enclosed kitchen. Canberra Crescent is an open concept kitchen, but this is not a deal breaker, right? Because majority of the buyers today, they are buying it for investment, so price point, it is actually very important, okay? But what is something that is very interesting that I noticed that I would say that is the first time that I see developer do this kind of design, okay, which is something very unique, is that you will notice that the 2-bed 1-bath, when you walk in to the main door, okay, you let me zoom in. For 2-bed 1-bath, you will realize that this is the fridge, this is the hob and hood, okay? And where is the washing machine? The washing machine, the developer actually built a carpentry cabinet to house the washing machine and dryer at the balcony. So you'll be wondering, wow, this one very special, I never seen it before. Personally, for me, I have not seen it before also, right? So what does this mean? Is that later I'll be showing you some photos on exactly how it will look like so that you can visualize. So by having washing machine and the cabinet at the balcony, which means that for buyers who are buying a 2-bedroom, the balcony, you have to build a zip track, or some of them call it a zip line, right? If not, your carpentry will be gone. Okay, so this is something to take note, is that if let's say today you are looking at a 2-bedroom, the balcony, you have to build a zip track next time, okay? Or if you want a lower cost, you can build a blind, okay? But this is something that you really have to do. Other than that, 2-bedroom, the 2-bed 1-bath is a dumbbell layout, I would say quite standard. And also in terms of the price point, let's look at Water Gardens first. So Water Gardens at Canberra, if you look at the 646 square feet in today's market, it's about 1785 per square foot, transacted 1.152. Okay, this is very recent, it's only this year, right? 17 January 2025. If today Water Gardens is converted to the new type of layout, PSF would be about 19 already. 1909 per square foot at 1.233 million. So if I look at for Canberra Crescent, the 2-bed 1-bath, I would say a safe entry price, the cutoff would be about 2002 per square foot. You can see if the developer sell at 2002 per square foot, the quantum that you will be looking at is about 1.254 million, which is quite close to what the market price is. Of course, if you can buy below, it will be good. So I would say that for 2-bed 1-bath, the walk area price will be anything that is above 2002 per square foot. It should be something for you to reconsider. The next one, we will be looking at a 2-bed 2-bath. 2-bed 2-bath, similarly, you will be taking Water Gardens to compare with Canberra Crescent. So Water Gardens 2-bed 2-bath is 721 square feet compared to Canberra Crescent is 667 square feet. So again, you will see that the layout for the Canberra Crescent residence is very similar to the 2-bed 1-bath, just that you got one more washroom. And also, you will get, for the 2-bed 2-bath, you will get one more study also. This study, I would say, is very small. So I would say majority of the buyers in this area, for the study area, maybe they will build cabinet if you are buying for own stay. If let's say you are buying for investment, I think this area, maybe for the tenant, they can use it as a proper study area. Okay, so this is the main differences. So if you look at Water Gardens, of course, if Water Gardens is converted to the new type of layout, it will be 19 per square foot, 1009 at 1.36 million. So I would say again, for the 2-bed 2-bath, if let's say you are looking at a 2-bed 2-bath, the walk away price would be anything that I feel that is above 2001. Okay, it is considered high already, because at 2001 per square foot, we will be looking at about 1.4 million, which is still very close to the market price. So the next one I will be showing you, you'll be wondering, right? Developer put the washing machine and dryer at the balcony and built some cabinet there. How it will look like? It will be look like that. You can see? So you can imagine, this area, the developer actually built cabinet, carpentry work, and they house the washing machine and dryer inside. So the balcony area, you definitely have to build a zip track or a blind one. If not, this whole carpentry gone. So for Canberra Crescent residents, you will find this type of washing machine and dryer at the balcony for all the 2-bedroom, the 2-bed 1-bath, 2-bed 2-bath, and the 3-bedroom compact. The rest of the 3-bedroom, 3-bedroom premium, and 4-bedroom, you will not find this type of carpentry work at the balcony lah. So if you were to ask me good or bad or not, I would say this type of design is quite innovative. Yeah, so I leave it to you whether you like it or you not like it, right? But I would say that in terms of the benefit wise, if the developer move the washing machine and dryer to the balcony area, which means that your kitchen, this area, you will have more storage cabinet. So the next one I will be talking about the 2-bedroom. So you may be wondering whether the 2-bedroom in Canberra, can I buy or not? Okay, so let's look at the supply and demand in the area. How is the 2-bedroom supply in this area? Next time, will it be difficult for me to let go or not? So what I did was I pull out all the data for all the 2-bedroom supply that is in a Canberra area. So you look at, I pull out Water Gardens, Commodore, Brownstone, Visionaire, Nautical, Canberra Residences, and so on. So you will find that the 2-bedroom for sale total is only 16%. Only 16% supply that is for sale in today's market in Canberra area. So if you ask me 16%, is it high or low? What do you think? I would say that 16%, to me, I feel that it's quite low. Okay, you have the most number of 2-bedroom for sale in Water Gardens and Canberra and Commodore, and this is understandable because they just TOP. And my recommendation for a 2-bedroom unit, if let's say you're looking at a 2-bedroom today, so my top choice, if let's say you are looking for a 2-bedroom unit, my top choice would be a 2-bed 2-bath, 667 square feet. So I would expect that the price differences would be maybe about 194,000 more if I assume that the per square foot is 2,000. And for this, and by paying this 194,000 extra, what are you getting? You are getting additional 1 more bathroom. And this is important. You will still get buyers buying for own stay. So by having 1 more bathroom, you will actually appeal to a greater group of buyers for investors as well as for own stay buyers. And then you will get a tuck-in kitchen. So this tuck-in kitchen, if let's say you are thinking that, wow, I like it to be enclosed. If let's say you are buying for own stay, you can actually build like a wall here if you want to make it to a semi-enclosed. If you want to be fully enclosed, then you probably have to sacrifice a bit about this study area. And of course, you get a study area, okay, this part. And also you will see that the dining space is bigger than a 2-bed 1-bath. And this is important. My estimation, the dining area probably about 3 meter. This is my estimation. So by having a 3-meter dining area, you can fit up to maybe a 6 people dining table set. So this is what you are getting. And if let's say the developer launched at about 2,100 per square foot, the price point is about 1.4. So again, my feel is that the walkaway price is anything above 2001 is a price point that maybe you should want to reconsider again. And in terms of the stack, you will get for the 2-bed 2-bath, you will get mostly the landed facing view, stack 4, stack 12, stack 20, and stack 29. And they also have 1 more stack that is facing the future school. So the next thing we'll be looking at the 3-bedroom, right? So you may be wondering whether that whole area is surrounded by executive condominium. By buying into a 3-bedder today at Canberra Crescent Residence, will it be safe? So this is some of the very common question that I've been asked so many times already, is that since there are so many ECs nearby, is it risky if I buy into Canberra Crescent Residence at a higher price? So let's look at how much is the gap today, okay, for executive condominium and the nearby condo like Water Gardens and Commodore. So I pull out some of the data. You will find that in this area, Canberra, you will find there are 4 ECs, Provence Residence, the Visionaire, Brownstone, and 1 Canberra. But one thing to note is that Provence Residence, they cannot sell yet. They cannot sell in the resale market yet because they just TOP in 2026. Earliest they'll hit the market is about 2031. And if you look at in terms of the per square foot for the ECs versus condo in that area, for example, Visionaire 1576 per square foot, okay? And these are the accepted price for buyers buying into Visionaire in today's market. Versus Water Garden is 1833 and Commodore is 1934. Okay, so you can see that the per square foot gap is about 300 per square foot, okay, and 400 per square foot. if you were to compare to Commodore. So now let's look into detail. Okay, so if you look at the price gap between Water Gardens at Canberra, Commodore and Visionaire EC, you will find that the price gap between Visionaire EC and Commodore is about $358 per square foot, and Visionaire to Water Gardens is about $257 per square foot. So you can see that the price gap is pretty big. If I were to look into greater details, you will find that, for example, Visionaire, a 3-bedder unit at 1.33 million, but if you were to buy Commodore, a 3-bedroom, a buyer had to pay about 1.9 million. So the price difference is almost 500,000. Okay, so the gap is very big. But the question is that, wow, the gap is so big. Will the buyer pay or not next time? This question is actually a very valid question. But let's understand, how come despite the $500 per square foot difference, but why buyers still willing to pay? So sometimes we need to understand that buyer who are buying for own stay, some of them they are also, they buy based on feeling. Price point, it is important, but not the most important, I must say, right? So when they buy with feelings, sometimes it's a bit emotion. They will be attracted to things that are nicer, landscaping that are nicer. So if I were to pull out the landscaping for Water Gardens versus Brownstone, which one do you think is nicer? I would think that Water Gardens, it looks nicer. It just gives me a very better feeling, better vibe, a very clean look compared to Brownstone. Brownstone also not bad. It's just that if I were to pick these two, I would say that, if I were to zoom in for you to see, you can see it look a bit like resort style, right, for Water Gardens. Versus Brownstone, okay, this is night view okay, 你看 night view 一下. So this one look like normal condo. Okay, so indeed, I feel that there is some differences in terms of the landscaping. So most buyers, they will feel better when they look at Water Gardens at Canberra, right? But of course, this is subjective. You may not agree with me, but this is based on my personal opinion. I feel that Water Gardens, it looks nicer. Okay, so the next one, if we look at Commodore versus Visionaire, which one do you think it looks nicer to you? Okay, if you were to ask me to pick, I would say I will pick Commodore. Commodore, from the picture, I zoom in for you to see. I will say that the whole landscaping, it looks very clean and it looks very quiet in a sense. It looks like very similar to Water Gardens because these two developments are 5-story high building. It just feel like resort. For Visionaire EC, it's an 11-story condo. I would say that in terms of the landscaping, from the picture of it, I would say it don't look as clean as Commodore, right? So landscaping is something that is also one very important aspect to consider. So from here, we actually see that there are indeed some buyers who are willing to pay a higher price to buy into a better landscaping and a better environment condo. But let's see whether is this always true if I take another area to compare. So if I go to another area in the northeast region, okay, I'll be comparing Huron Bay versus Riverfront. So Huron Bay is a EC. There is TOP in 2025, 394 units. Not bad. We are not taking something that is too small compared to Riverfront TOP 2024 last year, 1,000 over units. So you can actually see that in terms of the location, these two developments, they are quite near to each other. But let's see in terms of the price point. Huron Bay is about 1,003 to 1,004 per square foot in today's price. Versus Riverfront is 1,007 to 1,008 per square foot. The price difference is about $300 to $400 per square foot. So you can see again, this is very close to what is happening in Canberra area. Why are buyers again, they are willing to pay a higher price to buy Riverfront, but not Huron Bay? So we look at the landscaping again. On my left hand side is Huron Bay. If I look at Huron Bay, I pull some pictures for you to see. Huron Bay, okay, this is how it will look like. Huron Bay, their pool view. It looks like that. Versus Riverfront Residences, it looks like that. Okay, which one do you think it looks nicer? Personally, if you ask me, I think Riverfront, it looks nicer. I like the color of the pool. I can imagine myself sitting here looking out to the pool. I have a better vibe and better feeling. So again, it has been proven that in the northeast region, there are indeed buyers willing to pay a higher price, to buy into a better landscaping. So this is something that, that you may want to take note of it. Okay, so the next thing is we look at the 3-bedroom layout in Canberra Crescent Residences. They have 3 different type of layout for 3-bedroom compact. So their smallest is 797 square feet. So for 797 square feet, you have so this is the main door, you have an enclosed kitchen, and you have a dumbbell layout kind of layout that goes to your bedroom. And you will find that their washing machine, the developer also put at the balcony. So again, remember that the 2-bedroom and the 3-bedroom compact 797 square feet, the developer will build the washing machine and carpentry work at the balcony. And you have to build a zip line at the balcony side, okay? Or blind. Then the next layout is 883 square feet. So 883 square feet, the main differences is you will find that the washing machine is at the kitchen area already. It is housed below the cabinet. And the one main differences is you will find that the 883 square feet, the developer, you will get a dry kitchen area and a study area. And having the study area, I would say that for this developer, they are quite smart. You can actually see that if I were to zoom in for the 883 square feet, you can actually see that the developer designed a very flexible layout for most of their layout that they are giving you. You will see that all the walls here, is almost all the walls you can break down and you can reconfigure to your own needs. So you can actually see that this study area, it is actually very flexible. If you need this study area, example, if you want a helper's room, you may want to enclose a door here, okay, and this can be your helper room, right? If you want to have it as a storeroom, also can. This can be enclosed area and you can have this area as your store. And if you really want to use it as your study room, you may want to enclose this area so that you enter from here as your study room. And there's one more usage is that if you find that this dining area is too small, you have the flexibility to knock down this study wall, this study area, and then you can have your dining area to be extended all the way for this whole space. Okay, so you can actually see that from this, you can actually tell that the developer is building something that is giving you a very, very flexible layout. And this is something that I find is quite rare in the market. I think in this market, a good layout is definitely something that we have seen before, but having a flexible layout, which is something that is very rare, we don't usually see that often in the market today. And in terms of the bedroom size, I would say that they are quite similar. The bedroom 3, bedroom 2, and master bedroom, you will also get it the same size for the 3-bedroom compact 797 square feet. And these are the main differences that you will get. Then the next type of layout is the 872 square feet. Okay, I compare again to the 883 square feet layout. You will see not much difference. These two layout is almost identical, but except that only the foyer there's some differences. So to me, I would say the 872 and 883 square feet, you are still getting the same benefit like study area, you will still get good size bedroom, and only the foyer that is different. And also in terms of the bedroom size, I would say it's about the same as 797 square feet. Okay, so these are the main differences. In terms of the price point, 797 square feet, if I say is about, probably I feel, if let's say we are looking at about maybe 2000 square foot, this is probably a safe entry price that I think that you should be looking at. So that means you'll be looking at about 1.6 million. For 883 square feet is probably about 1.76 million. So if you look at the, where are they located? 797 square feet, there are only 3 stacks, stack 2, stack 10, and stack 31. And the 883 square feet layout you will get. Okay, so there is also another type of size that you can look at it, which is the 872 square feet. So you can actually see that the 872 square feet and 883 square feet, they look very similar. So what is the difference? I would say that it's really very small the difference. The difference is really at the foyer side, that's all. And 872 square feet, they only have 1 stack. They only have 1 stack, which is at the stack 15. So I would say that, in terms of the differences, is very small. It's almost identical for these two layouts. The next one that we'll be looking at is the 3-bedroom premium, the 990 square feet. What is the difference between 3-bedroom premium and 3-bedroom compact? Is that for 3-bedroom premium, you'll be getting an additional storeroom. This is the main differences. And you will still get a study area as the 883 square feet. You will get a dry kitchen. So this is the main differences for these two type of layout. Both are 990 square feet. The main differences is really the storeroom orientation. So I would say it's really, really very small. And in terms of the price point, assuming that is 2000 per square foot, it will be about 1.98 And if you were to ask me what is my top choice for the 3-bedroom layout, would be the 883 square feet. I feel the 883 square feet will give you a better value. Why? Because the 883 square feet, if I were to compare to a 990 square feet 3-bedroom premium, I will save about 214,000 and I don't need to pay something that is extra that doesn't really do much benefit to me. If I assume at 2,000 square feet, for this savings of 214,000, you will still get a flexible study area. Okay, you will still get a flexible study area, right? Which can double up as a lot of things. And of course, you do not have a storeroom, right? And also the bedroom size is very similar to a 3-bedroom premium. So if you were to ask me whether is it worth it to pay 214,000 for a storeroom, I will say I leave the decision to you. But for me, I will say that 214,000 extra to pay for a storeroom, I will say that is quite a lot lah. So again, this is the price point. I will say that if, maybe it might be in a range of about 1.76 million kind of range. The next one they will be looking at is a 4-bedroom. Okay, 4-bedroom, they have 4-bedroom compact, 4-bedroom standard, and 4-bedroom premium. Their smallest 4-bedroom is 1163 square feet. Okay, versus 1173 square feet. These 2-bedroom, what is the difference? I would say the main difference lies in the foyer area only. 1173 square feet, you will get a bigger foyer. And you let me zoom in to let you see the layout, right? And in terms of the things that you'll be getting for a 4-bedroom compact for this 2 layout, you will still get a dry kitchen, you will get a storeroom, and you will find that the study area is located at the balcony area. So what can you do with this study area? If you really want to use it as a study, you can. If you really want to have a bigger living and dining, what you can do is you can actually break down this wall. You can move your dining table to this area so that you have a landscape living and dining. And this area, if you really want, you can actually do up as a play area. You can do storage up to you. Okay, so this is some of the flexibility that the developer is actually offering. Okay, I think this is the main differences only. In terms of the stack, you will find that 1163, they only have it at 1 stack, at stack 18, and the 1173, you will have it at 2 stack, stack 11 and stack 19. Okay, so in terms of the price point, I would say $1,900 per square foot would be a safer price point to buy. You'll be looking at about 2.2 million. For a 1173 square feet is about 2.2 million as well, because the differences is really very small. The next one, you'll be looking at another type of layout, which is 4-bedroom standard, 1216 square feet. So 4-bedroom standard, the main differences is that the study instead is at the balcony area. It is moved to next to the dry kitchen. So you'll find that this layout is actually very similar to the 883 square feet for the 3-bedroom. And this layout again, it gives you the flexibility. So you can see this layout is something that is very flexible. Is that if you want to use it as a storeroom, then you seal off this door. You can use this space as a storeroom or a helper's room. If you want to use it as a study, you just need to seal up the other side and you can use it as a study. If you really want to knock down this wall, okay, and this wall when you knock down, it will not affect the dry kitchen. So the dry kitchen, it will not look very odd. It will not look very weird. And the dry kitchen will look like it's a standalone dry kitchen. So what does this mean is that, if you want to do some alteration to the layout, you don't really need to, sacrifice a lot of things. Okay, so you can keep the existing carpentry work that is given to you by the developer. So this type of layout, I would say, is quite rare. That is quite rare in the market. And I think in terms of the bedroom size is almost identical, and you will find that for the 4-bedroom standard, most of the bedroom you will get ensuite end. Because bedroom 2 is linked to bathroom 2, is a Jack and Jill toilet together with bedroom 4. Okay, and bedroom 3, you also have ensuite and of course master bedroom you also have another bathroom, right? So this 4-bedroom standard 1216, you will get ensuite for all the bedroom, which is something that is very unique. We don't get to see this layout very often in the market, and this layout I feel is one of the best layout for the 4-bedroom, which I will share with you later the reason why. The next one, if you look at another layout, is 4-bedroom premium. Okay, 4-bedroom standard versus 4-bedroom premium. The 4-bedroom premium is 1324 square feet. What is the differences? The differences lies in you will get a bigger dry kitchen, but the not so good thing is that you don't have a yard. And 1216 square feet, they have a yard. Okay, so they take away the yard, they give you a bigger dry kitchen. And also the additional space goes to the you have a walk-in wardrobe at the master bedroom. So whether or not is this important to you, I will say that it really depends. In terms of the price differences, a 1216 square feet is maybe about 2.3 million compared to a 4-bedroom premium is 2.5 million. So the differences is about 200,000 difference. And by paying this 200,000 more, you are getting a bigger dry kitchen and a bigger walk-in wardrobe. Let's say you are looking at a 4-bedroom layout. My top choice would be the 4-bedroom standard 1216 square feet because you save 200,000 difference compared to the 4-bedroom premium. You have the same flexibility as the 4-bedroom premium, which means that you have the study room. Okay, you have this flexibility at the study room. You will get to enjoy the same as a 4-bedroom premium. Next, you get a smaller dry kitchen area, which I think is okay, and then you will still get a landscape living and dining area. And the 4-bedroom standard have a yard and 4-bedroom premium do not have, and a master bedroom don't have a walk-in wardrobe. So I think in terms of some of the things you have, some of the things that you don't have, I would say that the more important thing is that when we want to look at a 4-bedroom layout in today's market, you have to think about what is important to the future buyers. And to me, I feel that by having this flexible layout is very important, and the dry kitchen, it is also important, but it don't have to be so big. And also the yard, it is also very important. Okay, so these are some of the things that you are getting in a 1216 square feet layout, and also you are getting in a 4-bedroom premium 1324 square feet layout, but just that you are getting a smaller dry kitchen and also you don't have a walk-in wardrobe. So personally, I feel that this 4-bedroom standard, you will get a better benefit out of it. Okay, so again, this is the end of our video. So my name is Terence. If you have any question, you can always drop me a message. So that's all. I will see you in my next video. Bye.